Hey, what's up, Six Spider Freaks? Today we're going to be doing another episode of Is it a brown recluse or a silly goose? So just as a reminder, here are a couple things to look for when you're trying to identify a spider that you may think is a brown recluse. Remember that the recluse spiders are extremely small compared to most spiders. They only get to about 3/8 of an inch. They don't have any big patterns on the abdomen or the legs, so you're not going to see any striping or any kind of spots. Depending on the species, you may or may not see the violin shape on top of the head. And they also have 6 eyes, which are put into 3 pairs along the front of the face. So with that being said, I want to give you guys maybe a minute or so to maybe pause this video and see if you can identify the spider to see if it is or is not a recluse. And then we'll go on from there. Cool. Now that you guys have taken the time to try to identify it, what do you guys think? What's the verdict? So right away we can see that this spider has a small body, probably about 3/8 of an inch, but the leg span is extremely huge. I would say probably about 2 to 2.5 inches long. Another important thing to note about this spider that we can see right away is that it is brown and there are no patterns. So that's right away thinking, okay, maybe it is a recluse. However, if you look closely at the legs, you can see extremely large and long spines and hairs, which are pretty much absent from any kind of recluse species. Another thing to note, if you're able to zoom in onto the eyes, you'll see that this spider actually has 8 eyes that are clumped together as opposed to the brown recluse. So here's a close-up of the eyes of this spider. You can see that they're all clumped together. There are 8 eyes, and completely different than what we saw in the previous video about the brown recluse. So I'm sure a lot of you are already asking, like, all right, what is this species of spider? This is actually a male from a genus of spiders called Kukulcania, which belong to the family Filistatidae, also known as the Crevice Weavers. They're pretty common throughout Southern California, and I believe they can be found throughout the Southern United States. They make a funnel web kind of shape, and the males look completely different from the females, which give them this appearance of looking almost like a brown recluse. They're ambush predators, and they're pretty hardy spiders too. In a second, I'll show you what the female looks like. So the female Kukulcania species often tend to be a little bit darker, more of like a deep chocolate brown, almost black, with like a velvety kind of appearance. They're beautiful spiders, and something else to note about the Crevice Weavers as opposed to the brown recluse. If you look in their front pair of little leg-like appendages called palps, they're extremely long. Longer than what you would expect to see in a brown recluse. And another thing too with the recluse spiders compared to the Kukulcania species is that the males and females look pretty much similar. There's no sexual dimorphism as opposed to what we see here with the Kukulcania. So here's an example of what the web looks like for these spiders, a little bit different than what you would expect to find a brown recluse in. It's pretty messy. They tend to be found either in urban environments. I've seen them at work before, like on the side of buildings, and I've also encountered them in the desert. So they're pretty, like I said, hardy spiders and also really adaptable. One last thing to note about the Crevice Weavers is that they are capable of biting, although it's extremely rare. Their bites are nowhere near severe as the brown recluse. You're not going to get any kind of necrotic wounds or anything. More or less like a mild bee sting. There have been about 5 recorded instances of the spider biting someone. So if you guys are interested in learning about that, let me know. I can send you the link to the article reporting the symptoms on those bites. So after all that being said, I think it's safe to assume that the male Kukulcania species or male Crevice Weaver spider is just a silly goose pretending to be a brown recluse. And again, like always, guys, if you don't know what a spider is, don't touch it. It's okay to let it be. If you have any questions, please feel free to DM me. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day.